I think he's one of those players that everyone you want to try and prove yourself against the best. You want to come up against the best and get stuck into them and do all that sort of stuff. But probably the best way to play against them is to not get into physical contact with them, to try and avoid any sort of battles, try and be smarter than him and try and get into positions that he wants to go to first. So I think if you get into physical battles with him, the likelihood is you're going to lose because he is so strong and he can just get that yard in front of you, obviously through his pace, but also through his strength, just by holding you away. The way that Man City have used Haaland, I suppose, at times is more just to be a focal point in the box and just wait for the ball to come. And
was there a striker during when you were playing that you see similarities with Haaland's?
Probably Didier Drogba would have been the one back then who had the physicality, the speed, the quality to finish. He was probably the Drogba of that era, someone who was very difficult to play against. And I mean, they're obviously great players in their own right, but the fact that Haaland plays for Man City and the fact that Drogba played for a really good Chelsea team at the time certainly helped them. They know that if they make the right moves, if they get themselves into the right positions, that the ball will arrive for them. And then it's down to their individual quality. And the both of them are incredibly strong players and really good finishers.
Did you prefer coming up against a big physical striker like that or a slightly smaller, nippy striker?
Both of them have that positives and negatives of playing against. Sometimes you can get into a battle with a big striker and you can win it on the day and it can all end up rosy. And the same with a small striker, you can be physically dominate them sometimes, but on other occasions, just that sharp movement is the one that causes trouble. I think with smaller strikers, their movement tends to be more away from goal to try and create the space, and that in itself causes a lot of problems for centre halves, and it did for me in terms of do you go or do you stay? Do you give them that little bit of space 40 yards from goal rather than committing into something and leaving spaces behind you? So I mean, personally, I'd probably prefer the bigger striker to play against someone who you know who's going to be a number 9 and stand up against you. Would for me be a preference over chasing smaller guys into midfield and with leaving the space behind.
And obviously, as a centre back yourself, going back to the playing, how much would you have loved to have played with someone like Rodri?
He's an incredible player. I think he won almost every trophy apart from the World Cup available to him last season or last year. So he just seems to have everything for the role. He's sort of very similar to Busquets in terms of how he can keep the ball, but physically stronger. He seems to cover the ground maybe better, and he's up there. His interceptions have been brilliant. His tackling's fantastic, and he's always available for the pass. He always wants the ball off defenders. So to be able to play in a team with someone like him would be an incredible opportunity. I think Diaz and Stones and the centre half at City, they'll always know when they have the ball, if they are in any sort of trouble, that Rodri's not going to be far away to give them the option of the pass. They also have the freedom to stride into midfield, knowing quite well that he'll drop in and take their position. I think for the effect that was more noticeable when he wasn't there in the 3 games this season that they've lost. So, yeah, I mean, Haaland is the main man. I think Bernardo Silva's quite close to him in terms of you get a good bit of pleasure just watching them play. But the most effective is probably Rodri in the side.
You mentioned it there, rightly so. When he wasn't in the team, Rodri, City looked to me a completely different outfit. Would that be a slight concern to Pep, given that he could go down with injury at any time?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I'd imagine the manager will know the importance of Rodri to the team. All the players will know the importance of Rodri to the team, and it's the simple solution is, you go and get someone who can replace him or when he's not there. But he's that good of a player that it's not as simple as that. They've signed, obviously Calvin Phillips is there. They've tried Kanji in there. They've tried Kovacic in there, and it's just not the same sort of fluidity as when Rodri's there, just the way he understands the system and everything like that. He's such a difficult player to replace, and it's probably not in terms of where City go when he's not there. It's not a case of trying to replace him. They have to change the system, I think, and play a different way, because not one player, I don't think, can do the same job that he's done. They've found ways, whether it be at times without a striker or without Kevin De Bruyne, they've found other ways and systems that suit them when those big players are out. Maybe that's something that they're still looking for when Rodri's not available.